Really just the smell of coffee that I need to get going. Drinking it is really just kind of a bonus. If there's the aroma of coffee, no matter the setting, I will find an extra gear. I will find it. Now, I shouldn't say no matter the setting, because I don't think I would ever drink coffee, say, at halftime of a pickup basketball game because I just feel like I'm down a little bit. I'm talking on the everyday life. It is the working man's Gatorade. You know what I'm saying? Like it just, there's just something about coffee. And when I say coffee, I'm talking black coffee, okay? I don't care if you go get coffee and you fill the entire cup with ice before you put the coffee in. That's a scam, an absolute scam. But then you throw 4 different kinds of milk and 4 pumps of this and a drizzle of that, and you mix all of this. That's not coffee. That's a milkshake with caffeine in it, okay? I don't drink that. This country was built by guys who you didn't want to get too close to because they had black coffee breath. It was rotting their mouth, but it didn't matter because that's what it took. They needed it. It got them going. Our country was built on that. It's very important, very, very important that if you're a black coffee drinker, a true coffee purist, somebody might say, I don't think you can say you're a true coffee fan if you don't say, yes, I enjoy a black cup of coffee. I'm not saying it's all you can enjoy, but a black cup of coffee, if you can't say this is a coffee that I like just plain black, you're not a true coffee fan. Call me crazy, but that's just what I think. So, and when you become a real coffee junkie, like a real one, not just a snob that throws his nose up in the air and says, I have a certain kind of press and I make sure to ground my own, which, by the way, I do ground my own coffee grounds and I do have my own French press. But I'm talking to people that, and the steaming and all that. Just make a black cup of coffee and go hammer through your work day, okay? Go complain about your job, maybe roll your eyes at some things your wife says, and drink your coffee black. Hello again, welcome aboard the Uncommon Show. My name is Tyson, and I'm going to take you on a journey, and I'm really excited about today. We were just talking about what it takes to build something in this world, and that's black coffee. And through a lot of hard work, through hours and hours of extreme focus and a lot of black coffee, we have officially reached the 10th episode of the Uncommon Show. I will wait. Round of applause. Thank you. Now, 10 episodes on YouTube is nothing to scoff at. With hard work, dedication, and like I said, a lot of black coffee, you too can have 10 episodes of a podcast on YouTube that accumulates to less than 50 views. Don't say I didn't say you should follow your dreams, okay? If there's one thing Tyson Tully is going to do, it's going to tell the kids of the world to chase your dreams. Don't let anybody knock you down. I got a great episode for you guys. I'm really excited about today. Obviously, it's a big day. We're celebrating 10 episodes. Huge milestone for me. I'll see you in 10 more. I got some sure things for you. We're officially in the full swing of the golf season, so I'll be able to give my picks on the upcoming tournament there. I'm going to recap some of the Olympics, and by some of the Olympics, I mean the hockey, because that's all bandwagon United States Olympics fans like me really care about when it's the Winter Olympics. Just saying. So we're going to talk about that a little bit. Of course, I've got some takes on the current state of the world. We're definitely going to talk about some of those things. And then I got a really, really, really exciting story to share with you on the Range Report. I'll leave that up to the Thin Reaper to spill all the details, but you're going to want to stay tuned to see what's going on with that. Like we were talking about, you know what? Instead of getting into that, what I'm going to do is actually start with the sure things so that way you know where your money is going to start this episode. Number 10, by the way, number 10. Let's go over to sure things. Welcome back to the Sure Things segment of the Uncommon Show, where I tell you where you should put your money, because I guess I haven't really figured out why other than my 17-9 record in this NFL season, other than the fact that, well, that's really the only statistical reason I can give you as to why you should spend your money on the things I say. But we are only 10 episodes in. That's a pretty good record for only 10. So I knew about this, but of course, I don't do a lot of things until my little brother is like, hey, I'm doing this. And then I go, well, shoot. That means inevitably he's going to start talking to me about it, which means inevitably I'm going to assume I can beat his ass in it, which means I'm going to actually have to try because he's not somebody you can just beat his ass at anything because he's going to try. So he brought up Kalshi to my attention, which I'm sure everybody knows. There's no reason for me to really explain what Kalshi is, but it's prediction markets. You can bet on anything. I was literally looking through it. And you can predict words Trump is going to say during a speech, which was probably either the best or the worst thing that I ever could have saw in my life. Not the fact that you can bet on words Trump is going to say, but it's so specific with things that you can bet on that it gets to that. Things could get scary good. Because if I got a record like I do in the NFL, who's to say I can't go that way anywhere else? I'm just saying, what if all of a sudden people are coming to me because they want to know what Trump is going to say? They're like, Tyson, you're 20-4 in the last presidential addresses predicting what Trump was going to say and different words that he was going to say. All of a sudden, I'm on Donald Trump's radar because he has to know, is somebody leaking his speeches? Is somebody on the inside spilling beans to this guy? How does he know what I'm going to say? I guess we'll see. Time will tell. Maybe we get a little bit of Trump sure things. Maybe we do a little political sure things. Who knows where he takes us? I want to shout out my little brother Max for pointing that out because this could be a new era of sure things. This is no longer NFL season and then Tyson BS's us for 10 minutes every week because he doesn't know what else to predict because he's too scared to actually give a prediction. I could actually start predicting things that I don't have any real, basis in. I don't have any real stance, but you start putting lines and numbers on things and you get this brain firing and who knows what can happen. I'm just saying that's what happened with football. I didn't know a darn thing, 17-9. All of a sudden, I don't know a darn thing about politics or cryptocurrency or the economic state of the world. But you start throwing pluses and minus 250s out there, and all of a sudden they start talking to me. That was the mistake that Kalshi made. They throw odds on these things, and odds talk. They talk to me. And so I can then tell you what's going to happen. So Kalshi, I want to thank you. You're not a sponsor. I guess we can change things. Have your people hit my people. Email is tullytyson@gmail.com. Actually, scratch that. Email is drtentacles@gmail.com. Don't ask why. Just send the email. Have your people get in contact with my people. We can put something together. DraftKings is getting close to the number, but I think you guys might be able to get there. So feel free to hit that. Again, drtentacles@gmail.com. Anyway, for my actual picks, right? We got the Cognizant Classic in the Palm Beaches this week. As of recording this, it is Sunday, February 22nd, so we got a few days before that starts. They're actually finishing up a tournament right now, which I didn't make any kind of claim on, so I haven't been paying attention. So I'm going to make a prediction on this one. The Cognizant Classic in the Palm Beaches. I don't know where the Palm Beaches is. I don't really know what Cognizant Classic means. I mean, obviously classic that's a typical golf tournament word, but the Cognizant Classic, what a name. They really throw just such interesting names on these things. It's a mouthful, really, but we got a couple big names out in the field. We got Brooks Koepka's on the field. We got Shane Lowry. We got Jake Knapp. This feels like a tournament Jake Knapp could win because, you're going to get yourself in trouble if you go around saying, well, this golf tournament isn't really anything just because it's not the Masters or whatever or a major. But I can't honestly say the Cognizant Classic is not huge. But Scotty Scheffler is not in the field, so to most people, I think that would pretty much tell you that this tournament is not exactly a big watch. nonetheless, I'm going to make sure that you get a prediction. You're going to know who I think is going to win here. Last year's winner is Joe Highsmith. Don't know him. Don't know a thing about Mr. Joe Highsmith other than he won last year's Cognizant Classic in the Palm Beaches. It has had some big name winners. I believe JT has won there. Ricky Fowler has won there. I'm sure there's plenty of other big name people that people actually want to watch out there. My prediction, I'm going to keep it simple. I don't really have a big reason. I'm going Mr. Lowry. I think Shane Lowry is due for a good win because he's just always competing. He's in the field. Nobody ever talks about him. And next thing you know, he's going 20 under through 4 days and, taking home a big old fat check. So I would say that is your sure thing of the week. Take Shane Lowry at the Cognizant Classic in the Palm Beaches to win outright. Take him to win outright. I think he's going to be in the running when the cut happens. I think he's going to be in the running. I'm not going to tell you to take him the first day or the second day or the third day or whatever, because I wouldn't be surprised if he's fourth or fifth until the fourth day. But then he finds a way, old Shane Lowry. Shane Lowry, by the way, is a tremendous example of what a beard can do to a man's appearance. If you haven't seen Shane Lowry pre-beard, look it up. And look, I'm in no position to hate on anybody, especially a guy who's as talented at something like Shane Lowry. And I love Shane Lowry. I always find myself rooting for Shane Lowry. I feel like he's sort of in Rory's shadow, which Rory casts a big shadow. I mean, he's a career Grand Slam guy, one of, 5 people in PGA history. So there's a reason Rory casts such a big shadow, but I just think he gets slept on quite a bit, almost like he's only ever there to be Rory's buddy. And I like to cheer for a guy like that. Plus, he just seems like a quality dude. And he's got a great beard. But I'm just saying, he literally went from like a 3 to probably like a 6 with that beard. I don't know how many people are gaining 3.5 points just from a beard. That's pretty impressive. It's actually inspired me myself. I'm trying to grow up my whiskers. Now, don't judge my whiskers now. I actually trimmed them up this morning. I'm trying to train them so that way it can start to learn the proper way to grow. I'm working on it, okay? But Shane Lowry has inspired me. If he can gain 3 points with a beard, all I'm looking for is a half a point, get me in that next level, that upper echelon, So Shane Lowry, I want to thank you for that. And we could probably set a line. Will Tyson have a full beard by the end of 2027? If he never puts razor to face for the rest of 2026, will he have a beard? I'm going to give you a sure thing right now and tell you that is a no. There is not a chance Tyson has a full beard by the end of the year because he grows facial hair like a child, like a grown child. It's as if I hit puberty 4 months ago. Not that I haven't shaved in 4 months, but that's what it looks like, right? I mean, it's all just on the chin here. It's very thin. It is what it is. So the sure thing, on top of that, I'm giving you a double whammy. This is a future. I should be charging for this stuff, but 2026, Tyson will not have a full beard by the start of 2027, and Shane Lowry will win the Cognizant Classic in the Palm Beaches this week. All right, that gives you the sure things of the week. Thank you very much for tuning in. I appreciate you. My latest observation is that we haven't been really at each other's throats as of late. In my deep divings into the internet, I am not seeing people posting one side or the other on their Instagram stories of a specific topic. I have seen. Did I just say seen? I have seen people. Good grief. I have seen less people putting videos of apparent peaceful protesters wrestling with police officers. I have seen less celebrities receiving awards and giving speeches that they have no right to give. I have seen a lot less of all of that. I've seen really nothing. And it's interesting to me. And I think what I want to do is believe that it's because everybody is in an absolute shock from all of these wild emails that they're reading that either are apparently coming from Jeffrey Epstein, or came from Jeffrey Epstein, but it also is coming out in a time where AI is so easily able to duplicate the look of those emails that I don't know if anybody actually knows what they're reading is true, because you either go, well, all of this is true or none of this is true. It's so hard to decipher what is true, what's not true. You sort of have to just jump on that side. And I don't think anybody, I think it's so fresh and it's so, people I don't think are terribly surprised that there's actually this evil group of people running the world. I don't think that was catching people all that far off guard. I think people are more along the lines of, well, if all of this is true, something's got to happen. So I think I'd rather just, and because nothing's happening, I ought to just say, well, then clearly none of it's true, and let's just move on with our lives, which is so sad. It's probably the saddest thing of all. The thing is, nothing is happening, right? Like, I saw Prince Andrew, or former Prince Andrew, got arrested for his involvement. And my first thought was, did nobody watch Filthy Rich, the Netflix documentary about Jeffrey Epstein? I think that came out like 6 years ago. It was during COVID, for sure. Like 5-6 years ago, something like that. Filthy Rich, the Netflix documentary about Jeffrey Epstein. It was after he had, what are you supposed to say now? After he killed himself, after he allegedly killed himself, after he died, whatever. When the dude was no longer, when Jeffrey Epstein was found dead in his cell. Shortly thereafter, Filthy Rich, the documentary, came out. I thought that was mega news. I thought everybody should be paying attention to that. I thought everybody would be like, holy cow, we need to put an end to this. We got to find this Ghislaine Maxwell person. We need to find her. That should be public enemy number one. And we need to make sure that people pay, because it's very clear that there's some fishy stuff going on. I thought that would just be unanimous. Well, it just came and went like a documentary, right? If you had told me at that time that in a couple years' time, or even in that moment, if you're like, oh yeah, and also we have all of the emails he ever sent or received, and some of the stuff is confirming some of the most heinous and horrible things you've ever heard in your life, and also every conspiracy you've ever believed or been told is 100% true. If you had told me all of that was going to come or was out at the same time, I would have assumed civil unrest. I would have assumed anarchy everywhere. I would have assumed there would be people losing their minds just because they wanted to see somebody pay. We have officially reached that moment, and the only person that's getting in trouble, publicly anyway, are two people that are in Filthy Rich, painted very clearly as some bad mofos. You got Prince Andrew, former Prince Andrew, sorry, I shouldn't give him the credit, but the thing is, if we're going to call him former Prince Andrew, you might as well call him Prince Andrew, because he still gets the prince in his name. We should just take that away. It should just be Andrew. What's his last name? What is former Prince Andrew's last name? This is why I need a producer. I don't want to be Googling stuff. I want to just be able to ask a question, and then there's a super smart person behind the camera that clickety-clacks away and gives me the answers. So that way I look like I know what I'm talking about. I need it. Maybe on episode 20. Maybe by then we'll be, Portnoy will come calling, PBD will come calling, somebody will come calling, we'll get a producer in here. Anyway, there's two people in Filthy Rich. Former Prince Andrew, and then what's his name, like Lex Wexler or something like that, the Victoria's Secret guy, old guy. I mean, I thought he was 112 when Filthy Rich came out. He looks terrible right now. He's apparently in trouble. I think everybody has seen the viral clip of his lawyer telling him that he's going to kill him if he answers another sentence with more than 5 words. I think everybody has seen that. But those two guys are painted as some really bad guys, or potentially really bad guys, in Filthy Rich. It doesn't necessarily make any accusations or necessarily say this is what happened. Maybe with former Prince Andrew, I think that Virginia lady all but said, yeah, it was definitely him, and he definitely did some bad stuff. But I think his name's Lex, the Victoria's Secret guy who founded Victoria's Secret, the guy who gave him the $50 million penthouse and gave Epstein the $50 million penthouse or whatever in New York, he's in trouble. It's like, what have we been waiting for, people? We had a documentary come out that showed these guys. So how fitting is it that the two people who seem to be under any heat were probably guys who already took all the heat, right? Like, isn't that convenient? And how stupid do most people have to be like, all right, they're making them pay. They're getting to the bottom of it. It's like, what? How is this not already done? That's my question. But I am a perfectionist. I insist that, everything get done now, and why wait and all of that stuff. So maybe they needed a little bit more. Maybe they needed these emails to really crunch down on these scumbags. But I thought it was pretty clear if you watch the documentary. So it's pretty amazing to me that now there's been some photos I've seen of the former prince that's like, well, right, like I remember seeing it going right. The documentary explained that this guy he deserved to be locked up. Like I don't get that really necessarily, but here we are, watching two guys who have already taken the heat, get the heat, so that way we assume things are actually happening when nothing's happening. It's incredible. It's really incredible. And I realized, and here's another sure thing for you if you want to just go pad the stats. In 7 years, we're going to have a documentary come out, probably on Netflix, about reminding us that nobody actually paid the price for what was found on Epstein Island, in those files, all of that. Nobody is going to actually get in any real trouble. And there's going to be a documentary that comes out that reminds us, and it'll be a Twitter hashtag for a little while. It'll be a thing that people probably put on their Instagram stories, because that's where real stuff gets done. And 30 to 40 days later, it'll be over. It'll be gone. We'll move on to the next thing. There will be another tragedy. There will be another outrage. And God forbid, there might be another person who sings in Spanish at the Super Bowl halftime show. We all know how that'll go. So that's my prediction. It's a pretty sad sure thing. But hey, I didn't say come for the sure things that are only going to make you smile. Sometimes you got to put money on things that make you uncomfortable. You got to put money on things that make you sad, because that's where the money's going to go. And it is what it is. On that positive note, I'm going to send it over to my guy, the Thin Reaper, to break down what is probably the most exciting range report we have ever had in honor of our 10th episode. Let's get it. Welcome back to the Range Report. I am the Thin Reaper, and I have got some extremely exciting news for you. I had the other guy already cover the golf stuff, because we're going to talk about the real golf stuff, the stuff that's going to change the game here. It has been brought to my attention that a friend of mine named Carter has called out my father in a 1v1 golf match. Now, the details still need to be ironed out. It's very raw right now. Basically, what happened was I played golf with my father, and it was documented on this show for the first time outside in 2026, and he shot a 50, which for those golf people out there is not a good score. No one will tell you a 50 is a good score, and that is what it is. But it was February. It was the first round of the year. There's a lot of things to go, hey, a 50 is okay when you aren't. I'm not trying to, say anything too harsh here, but my dad is not exactly a great golfer. So when you hang a 50 your first round outside of the year after doing nothing but, hitting the simulator occasionally, he's a busy guy, he's got things going on. It's not that weird that you get on the greens and you're putting a little rough, or your touches around the green isn't there. It makes perfect sense. There's levels, right? And at his level, a 50 on the first round of the year, not so bad. I shot a 45, which I felt was about as bad a score as I was comfortable putting up without being really disappointed in myself. And I'm sure he feels the same about his 50. Would he like to see a 48, 49? Sure. But that's besides the point. Carter was made aware of this. He was made aware of this 50 by my younger brother Max, Carter's better friend. I'm sort of friends by association with Carter. I play basketball with him, but he's my brother's age. So I grew up watching the kid, and then we eventually spent some time together as it meshed. And then, now we went on a golf trip. Me, my brother Carter, Casey Campbell. Shout out those guys. Shout out the Degenerates Duel. More on that at a different time. But that's the relationship. My brother has a much better relationship with Carter. Sees him a little bit more often. Told him about the 50. And the quote that started it all is when Carter was made aware of this 50, he said, and I quote, "I would wax that ass." That is a Carter Daniels quote. I asked him about it. He confirmed it. He stood on all 10 toes when it comes to saying, "I would wax that ass," about my father. Well, me, being the kind of guy I am, had to immediately tell my dad. I had to, because we're going to get my dad on the show one of these times, whether it be for golf, whether it be for the podcast, whatever. We're going to get him involved, and you are going to see the magic that is Cleet Tully. He's hilarious, and I don't want to talk him up too much, because one of the worst things you can do is talk up somebody for being hilarious and then put them in a spot to be hilarious. It almost always leads to some disappointment. But he's a very funny guy, especially on a golf course. And likewise, and this is where my brother's brain went as well, which my brother brought the match idea to my attention, because obviously he was having the conversation with Carter. And Carter is probably one of the most interesting people you would ever meet. Extremely inappropriate. There is not a politically correct bone in his body. He's not exactly a sensitive person as well. He gets very brash. He's very loud. He's very unapologetically himself. And he's hilarious as well. The two of them just reacting to their own golf shots is fantastic. So the two of them clashing in a match, oh my God, sign me up. And we've already started the back and forth a little bit, getting some quotes from my dad, getting some quotes from Carter, trying to find out, are we okay with coming on the podcast to kind of hash these things out, air out the grievances, let the smack talk really live live, Sounds like Carter's being a little bit of a pussy about it. Carter, I hope you're watching this. I'm trying the public call-out thing. Let's make this happen. Like I said, I'm trying to Don King this thing. My dad's on board. My dad, he wants credit to Cleet Tully. He wants the ball. He wants to take the shot. He wants the spotlight on him. He wants the moment. And we'll see what he does with it, but he wants it. Carter seems to be the kind of guy that's like, he lurks in the shadows, and then, bam, he'll get you. And then he's back in the shadows. He doesn't want a video of him talking the way he talks, because then he has a video that can get referenced back to if he loses. That's just what it seems like to me. If I was going to say, quote, "I would wax that ass," I would be willing to say that to you, the people, to the person whose ass I'm waxing, and I'd be willing to say it all in one arena to express. And you know what? I'd stand on it if I lost. That's how I felt. I lost. He got the better of me. I didn't play as good. Whatever. If you got to make some excuses, you got to make some excuses. But it sounds like Carter's ducking that a little bit. And I hope I'm not ending my chances of getting him on here by calling him out. I am running that risk. He's a sensitive guy. So I said he lacks sensitivity more for other people's, but I think he's a little sensitive when it comes to his own feelings. So I'm trying not to hurt your feelings here, Carter, but I do hope that maybe this inspires you to not duck a very legitimate opportunity to plead your case as to why you would wax that ass. And again, I am quoting only you. I'm not saying you said this when all you said was, "I'd like to take Cleet 1v1 and go from there." You said that you would wax that ass. So you gotta put your money where your mouth is at least. But it would be nice to see you also go, yeah, and I'll talk some smack ahead of time. I'll come to the weigh-in and throw a fake push for the views. Let's do it. Let's make it happen. So that's the news. I'm going to be sharing more about that as it develops. There's talks of maybe my brother caddying for Carter and I caddy for my dad. There's talks of maybe having Carter get a different caddy, my dad getting a different caddy. My brother and I, we can sort of commentate the thing, just kind of keep things interesting. I'm going to have a hard time not making it known that my money is on my dad. But if for the players, they want me to kind of be neutral and just kind of comment on each individual shot and spend an equal amount of time trying to get under both of their skin, I can do that. For the competitors, for the viewers at home, I can do all of that. But it's going to depend on where my fit best. But it's not about me. It's not about me. It's about the match between the two of them and the absolute fireworks that would be that. I'm excited. I hope anybody watching this is excited, and I really hope Carter and Dad are both watching this, getting really fired up. We're going to make this happen. So that's this week's Range Report. Thank you for tuning in. I'm going to kick it back to Tyson. Yeah, we're all really, really excited for that match to happen. I'm going to be collecting a whole bunch of content along the way. I'm going to come with the receipts. I want to make sure that this goes well. So we discussed a whole lot of fun stuff today. Episode number 10 was a big one. I really appreciate anybody tuning in. Gave you the sure things. I think it had been kind of a while before I gave you a legitimate sports sure thing, and I even gave you an additional one with my beard. So that was a little inside scoop, a little insider trading, if you will. We talked about, obviously, the absolute nonsense and puppet show that is being put on in front of us when it comes to who's getting in trouble for these heinous acts that we're seeing in these Epstein files. Oh, you know what I didn't even talk about? I just got to go on record and say this. Fuck Canada. How about that? United States winning the gold in women's hockey and men's hockey, and I'm sure we won a gold in medals and other things, but who cares, because it's the Winter Olympics, it's hockey, that's all anybody in America really cares about, besides the guys and girls that obviously play the other sports. But the bandwagon United States fans, you know what we care about? Hockey. How did we do? We won. Gold. So fuck Canada, fuck maple syrup, and fuck Canada one more time. I don't swear a lot on this show, but fuck Canada. All right? And by the way, I don't have any beef with Canadians. This is all performative. Anyway, that was episode 10 of The Uncommon Show. I love you. Thank you very much. Peace out.